called an ads audit and strategy session. And we've been working with that for over probably 5 or 6 years now. And what I love about it is that it allows us to work with those smaller businesses to audit their advertising, whether that's Google or Meta, and give them a strategy and a template for them to take away and run their own ads in a more cost-effective manner. And yeah, it's one of my favorite offerings that we have. And yeah, I just love that how empowering it is for those small business owners.
Welcome to the Design Dialogues, the podcast where we dive deep into the business of interior design. I'm Beth Beesky, the founder of More Time to Design and a designer with over 13 years of experience. I'm here to help you navigate the challenges of running a successful studio, whether you're a solo designer or leading a team. Each week, I chat with industry experts and share practical insights to help you streamline your processes, grow your business, and create a studio that thrives. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy our Design Dialogues. Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Design Dialogues podcast. This week, I'm joined by Alison Wheeler from Society State. Hi, Alison.
Hi, Beth. It's so lovely to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me today. So I always like to start by finding out, what can you see out your window today?
Good question. There is a footpath that's usually filled with a lot of foot traffic from the train station up the road, but it's pretty empty at the moment. But I love having this desk spot because I can literally just spy on people as they're walking past and they have no idea. It's so good.
So good. I love a bit of people watching. I love the idea of also it's almost like a moving artwork that you've got in front of you.
It is. It's nice.
So can you tell everyone what your business is and how you have gotten to where you are today?
Yeah, so I own a boutique digital advertising agency. I'm located in Melbourne's inner west, and I've got quite a broad generalist in-house marketing career experience. I worked in-house in a lot of different, across a lot of different businesses, ranging from insurance to events management, beauty and makeup. What do we got? Yeah, it's so broad and varied. I worked for an arts and crafts retailer and got to travel to the States 3 years in a row, working on trade shows. Yeah, super varied.
It is very, very varied.
Yes, yeah.
And so often we hear about businesses in lots of different kind of fields where it's like niche down and you've kind of done the opposite. You've gone very broad.
Yeah. I studied public relations and journalism and quickly realised that I just loved marketing. But this was before digital advertising, before Facebook and Instagram. And so quite a long time ago, I'm probably showing my age, but I couldn't find, I had some wonderful roles. A couple of roles stand out to me, but I just couldn't find something that I really wanted to or could see myself sitting in for a long term until I discovered digital advertising in one of my roles working for an events management company here in Melbourne that organises Run Melbourne, which is one of the biggest fun runs here in Melbourne. I discovered my love of digital advertising, so working on meta ad campaigns for the business through their agency, and then one of the agency managers actually taught me, and that's where it all began. And at that time I thought, you know what, I would love to start my own business and have that flexibility of being able to, like my previous experience, work with a range of different brands and business owners, but be able to give them a much more one-on-one personalised approach because, I was boutique and at that time it was just myself. But now the business has grown and we have, as you said, niche down to just offer. At the start, I offered everything from social media management to Facebook advertising. And it's obviously, changed now to just we offer ads management in both Google, Meta, Pinterest, TikTok, LinkedIn,
My goodness.
to our clients, but also that one-on-one coaching and training to work with a lot of smaller based businesses and like startup brands who can't afford to outsource their advertising.
Yeah.
So we offer that one-on-one coaching and training and ad setups as well. So that we can work with both, the very large businesses with lots of budget
Yeah.
to those that have a lot less, and
Yeah.
everything in between.
And do you find it hard? Because even that sometimes is a niche that people go, like they'll be like, well, no, we only work with people with a certain budget, like above.
Yes.
Do you find that, how do you find that dynamic in your business where you're obviously working at both ends of the scale?
Yeah, I think it gives us a lot of flexibility, because our ads management clients, we do have basically a minimum spend of around that 2K mark a month,
Mm-hmm.
just because we find that if businesses are investing that much and then paying an ads management fee, a spend of anything less than that for an ads management client isn't going to basically get the results that they're after and warrant spending that ads management fee and paying that
Yeah.
agency fee to us. But then, yeah, juggling that workload as well. I've had a couple of kids in the last 4 years, and I found that sort of short-term project-based work and one-on-one coaching work has worked really well for that flexibility, especially like in the early days of postpartum where I haven't been able to take on a lot of ads management clients myself.
Yeah.
I do have 2 team members now, so they've been managing that side of things while I've been returning to work postpartum. But yeah, I do like that one-on-one coaching sort of and training aspect because it allows that sort of flexibility, and I can work in the time where it suits my lifestyle at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so interesting. Like, I think one of the things, like so many of my listeners, they're working parents, and I talk a lot about sometimes that it's the season that you're in with your life impacts what is happening with your business, and it's not forever, and it's not like it's you change just as kids get older, so demands get different, or age caring for aging parents and all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's just really interesting how you've set your business up with that flexibility in it, which is kind of working for you.
Yeah.
Was that something that you did on purpose and by design, or is it more just a happy kind of, oh, this has worked out quite well?
The services that I've offered have been around for, almost as long as the business. It's just a matter of how I've advertised them and then probably removed some of the other services as time has gone on and changed.
Yeah.
And what we've sort of promoted externally or pushed to, new client inquiries. So yeah, one of our like most popular services is called an ads audit and strategy session. And, we've been working with that for over probably 5 or 6 years now. And what I love about it is that it allows us to, work with those smaller businesses to audit their advertising, whether that's Google or Meta, and give them a strategy and a template for them to take away and run their own ads in a more cost-effective manner. And yeah, it's one of my favorite like offerings that we have. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just love that how empowering it is for those small business owners.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so interesting. So one of the things that we were talking about kind of before we press record, and I'm very guilty of having good discussions before and after the recording, but we were talking about how I was working with a designer who is putting together kind of a new product offering. It's a smaller product offering. It's really like a lead generation product offering to help her bring in more full service design clients. And she said to me, so how do I spread the word? How do I advertise this? And in this day and age, it's like, how do you advertise new products? How do you get the word out there? And so often when I'm talking to designers, they're like, well, I don't have a big budget to spend on advertising. I don't need a lot of leads to come in every month. I need maybe 5 or 6 for this if I'm a solo business and all of that kind of stuff. And so quite often the perception is that social media advertising is not the right fit because they won't have budget, it just doesn't fit. So how should a smaller business, like maybe it's a solo designer or someone that's maybe like similar size business to yourself, like
Yeah.
smaller team,
Yeah.
how should they be thinking about social media advertising?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I'm going to say don't start with budget and say, I don't have enough budget. Start with your strategy. So I was just presenting at Reed Gift Fairs recently, and that was my main takeaway for anyone listening. It's, starting with strategy. So having to think about, all right, well, if it's leads that you want, how many leads do you need? So, how many? I'm asking yourself about your audience. Where do they hang out? So, are they hanging out on Facebook or Instagram? Are you currently getting leads through LinkedIn? Have a think about what platforms your audiences are using, where they're hanging out. Where are a lot of your inquiries naturally coming in or organically coming in, and leverage that. So, what I do find is that for businesses that are on the smaller side, a lot of them, especially the likes of the visual businesses like interior designers, Pinterest can be a great one. It is a little bit more expensive than Facebook perhaps, and it does have that longer lead time when it comes to actually conversions. But Instagram is probably the most popular when it comes to choosing which platform to advertise on. You can get started for, anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month.
Yep.
And if you are just running, say, perhaps a lead campaign, that's definitely sufficient. And if you've got those goals and targets in mind, that's where you're not going to outspend what you need to. So, it's definitely starting off with the strategy side of things and thinking about where your audience is hanging out.
Yeah. And I don't know very much about social media advertising at all, but it's very like you can really like target locations, and it's all really about that ad setup, isn't it? Like the back end of it to make sure that the budget that you do have is being spent in the best possible way.
For sure. I definitely recommend jumping into Meta Business Manager and Ads Manager to run your ads. Put away your phone and stop hitting that boost button, because that's honestly the worst thing you can do. So jumping into Ads Manager, and you can have really clear and precise control over, what your ad campaign objectives are, what audience you're targeting. So you can get as niche and targeted as targeting your local postcodes or geolocation. So if you have a specific radius that you service, you can select that. I'm currently working with a service provider based on the New South Wales Central Coast, but she offers workshops in Brisbane, Melbourne, and Geelong and Sydney. And we've set up dedicated targeting based on those locations.
Yeah, so that's so interesting. And then in terms of time frames, because I think so often people are like, well, I'm not seeing any results and it's been like a day. It's like,
be patient.
what is the expectation that people should have about, because that obviously also comes down to a budget question. Like, how long should you be going? Like, is the strategy, is it set for 3 months and see? Is it longer? Is it shorter? Like, what is that expectation that people should be having?
Yeah, when it comes to the clients that we work with, we usually work off that sort of 3-month minimum, especially when it comes to us managing their ads. We like to say, or actually the contract stipulates, you've got a minimum 3-month ads management with us. But when it comes to managing your own campaigns, look, I would definitely like to think of it as the first month. So, 2 to 4 weeks, you need to be testing. So that's where you can test your campaign objectives. You might be testing some different audiences and testing your ad creatives. And then month 2 is where you go on to refine that. And then month 3 is where you can start to really have an understanding of what's working and really, I suppose, either scale your budget if you're getting, good leads or good sales or whatever it might be, or just refine that even further. So, yeah.
And because there is a period at the start of every ad campaign, isn't there, where the algorithm is learning. So if you are kind of stop starting or changing, you're resetting that learning phase.
Yep.
Yeah. And that can then kind of like you're constantly restarting the clock. And so you're not actually ever moving out of that phase and seeing the results.
Yeah, so one of the, I suppose, greatest mysteries around ads management is, how often do we need to be updating or changing or refreshing our ad campaigns? And it's less than what you, think. Even as ads managers, even though we're in managing our clients' campaigns every single week, we're, in the actual platform at least a couple of times a week, we're actually not making a lot of big changes probably every week or 2 weeks. You don't want to be doing anything, any more frequent than, every couple of weeks at least, because you need, especially if you've got a small budget. So some of your listeners, if they do have small budgets, it takes longer for that learning phase to finalize and your campaigns to be running efficiently. So I would recommend, not making any big changes to campaigns for at least 1 to 2 weeks or until that learning phase is exited or completed.
Yeah. And this is a question on the spot, but what's some of the things that people should be thinking about? Because I think social media advertising, like as you said, there's the boost button and people are like, oh, I'll just do that. But you can and it feels like I'll just spend $5 a day or $10 a day. That very quickly adds up kind of thing. And I've seen a lot of instances where designers are like, I'll manage it myself, and they're getting no results and they've just really wasted a lot of money and time. What are some of the questions that people should be thinking about if they're looking at hiring like a business or a studio like yourself to help them set up the ads or manage the ads? Because there's lots of lovely companies like yours, but there's also a lot of companies that are not so great in this space.
Yeah, so I would be asking questions like, what experience do you have working with businesses like mine? Do they have experience working with service providers like yourself or generating leads for businesses? Asking for some case studies or testimonials from previous clients within the same industry. I would be asking like who is going to be managing my campaign or campaigns or account. Large agencies have, the tendency to use either offshore agency or account managers, I should say, or juniors. But, if you're working with the likes of a more boutique agency like myself, there's 3 senior strategists and ads managers in our business, and that's all there is. There's no juniors. So, you're getting people with lots of experience behind us. So who's managed my account? What experience do you have? What does your ads management include? So having a really clear picture about what are the deliverables. Do you have to pay extra for strategy? Is there extra payments required for ad creative and things like that? So just that you're aware of what exactly that they're going to be delivering. One of the other big things I would ask is around reporting. So, what is it that they're going to be reporting on and how frequently are those reports going to be coming in? And just, around that communication. So what kind of communication can you expect from the agency in terms of updates and how frequently they might be updating campaigns, and what is it that, or methods that they're going to be using to communicate that with you as well. So that'd be the main top 3.
Yeah, and I suppose as well, or a couple of things to that. I suppose it's really important, like any kind of external agency that you bring on, like this is a really kind of like crucial area to your business. You got to get on with the person and make sure that they're aligned with your business.
Yep.
The other thing as well is like you mentioned it before, like artwork or collateral that's needed to produce the ads. If someone is thinking about approaching an agency, should they really be thinking about, well, what have I got that someone could use before? Or is it something that you should have a conversation with the agency about first? Or how should people be thinking about that side of it?
Yeah, so I think initially starting off, if you are thinking about going to an agency to outsource your advertising, is having a look at your organic social media strategy, because when it comes to advertising, it leverages what's working already on your website and on your socials. So if you're already active on your socials, you're already posting content, whether that's graphics, carousels, you're recording reels, you're active on stories as well. Because any social media advertising you're doing is just going to be leveraging what you're already doing. So if you're doing a great job already, that's fantastic, because we see a direct correlation in the brands that we work with, from an organic socials point of view. If they're getting great results and being consistent with their posting, they get much better results than those that don't. For example, one e-com brand that we're working with, they hadn't posted to their Instagram account in over a year. We're running ads and we're consistently telling them to update their socials. And one of the things that I like to think about when working with brands is think about your Facebook and Instagram pages, or whichever accounts that you're operating on. Think about them like your website. Like if you haven't updated them in a very long time, people vet the brands that they work with and service providers that they work with by their socials. Like if you haven't updated something, they're like, something seems a bit fishy here. They haven't updated for a while, or they're not getting that information that they need.
Yeah,
That
and that's so interesting. I talk, especially for if you're like, I find if if your key client is like in an older demographic, they quite often will they your Instagram, they validate you kind of thing. So if someone
yeah,
it's a bit like if someone's told them about you, they will validate you by going to see the Instagram page. It's a bit like the same with an ad.
exactly.
They need to validate you kind of thing. So it is quite crucial. And I think, one of the things is like it doesn't have to be every day.
No,
Like it just has to be regular.
consistent is different for everyone. It might be twice a week, or it might be 3 times a week. Whatever that consistency looks like for you, just stick to it. But when it comes back to your question around the ad creative, things like that. So I suppose it's like, putting yourself back into going back to the strategy and your goals and your audiences. Like, what is it that they're interacting with organically already? Is it your reels or your stories? Is it talking to camera? Is it more some beautiful lifestyle shots with graphic overlays and things like that? Starting from that you're already using. If you've got a library of images, fantastic. If you've recently done a photo shoot, amazing. If you've got examples of, speaking specifically to interior designers, if you've got examples of your work, both video and photos, awesome. Starting with that, and then having that conversation with the agency that you're working with, or whoever it might be, and saying, all right, well, here's what I've got. Do I need anything else? And a good agency will be working with you to say, look, these things might be great, but let's try and grab some different video. Or quite often we're having conversations with our clients around, okay, well, for your next photo shoot, if you could get some snaps that are, in this format, or it might be that we need some videos in 15 seconds or 30 seconds. And, we'll be coming up with examples of ad creatives and inspiration for our clients.
Yeah.
And we're often going back to them going, oh, this is what's worked for this campaign. Let's double down on that, or let's try this type of variation next time. So, a good agency will be working with you, or should be working with you, to make sure that you're working on that ad creative ongoing. Some agencies offer design services or video editing and things like that. Us specifically, we can do minimal bits and pieces, but ideally we find with the brands that we work with, either ones that are larger, they often have in-house teams.
Yeah.
Or if you're smaller, you're already making that content for your socials anyway. So naturally it makes sense for the brands that we're working with to produce it in-house. But yeah, we can definitely provide that sort of strategic overview and insights and ideas around what's trending, what's working in ads right now to guide and coach our clients.
Yeah. And we've just briefly touched on it, but that kind of organic and paid strategy sit so closely together. Like you really can't have a paid strategy until you have an organic strategy.
Yeah.
And so, and I know you work in the paid space kind of thing, but what is, like, if someone is thinking of moving into having some paid advertising, but yet they know their kind of organic strategy isn't as strong as they could be, what are just a couple of points people should think about? Like, if they're thinking about the two together, what are some of the things they should think about?
That's a really good question. So what I would think about is, what does your current customer journey look like? So if it's that you're getting inquiries via your DMs on Instagram, or it might be that you're getting inquiries from your email marketing, it might be that people are coming to your website organically and inquiring that way. It's having to think about that user journey and trying to, I suppose, like put budget behind that. So like what can you leverage that's already working? Or, like your existing client, like if they've got some kind of lead generation or, lead magnet, as you call it, that they can leverage to try and build their brand awareness and traffic or their email list, and leveraging it that way. But yeah, I suppose going back to your question around starting organically and what can they do before they start ads is, yeah, it would be really just having to think about that customer journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I suppose as well, experimenting with stuff. Like, as you said, like
Yep.
your paid advertising is really extending what is working on your organic strategy. So the organic part is where you get to play around and test and see what hits and what doesn't, kind of thing. So
yeah, exactly.
I think kind of having a play around. So you are a mum to two and you run a busy studio. You must have a couple of amazing productivity hacks that help you get through the week. What's some of the things that you do that help you kind of tick off all those things on the to-do list?
I usually sit down on like a Sunday evening and just have a quick look at my Google Calendar. So I've got a shared Google Calendar that I try and implore my husband to use as well. So his activities don't always get added to the calendar, but it ensures that I can see. I've found that going from one kid to two means your home and life admin for home it just grows exponentially. There's more appointments. There's so much other things to think about other than just work and one kid. There's there's now kinder and daycare, and then there's appointments, and then, I'm just like, oh my God. So it's some kind of calendar tool. I love Google Calendar, and then it syncs with both my personal and work emails, so I can keep everything in check there. And I use Asana for our work project scheduling. So all of our ads management clients sit within that. I can delegate tasks to our team members. All of our social media planning is scheduled in there as well. And then all of my behind the scenes work admin and business admin is done in that. And I kind of feel like I do have a diary on my desk as well, a week tour planner diary, which I usually will then add in just my key appointments for the week, and then usually I'll add in just my top line tasks each day. So at the moment I've only got one protected work day a week that I have a babysitter come for my youngest bub, but I shouldn't call her a bub because she's one, so she's technically a toddler now. But because I do only have that one protected work day, I make sure that day is my work day, and I try and get everything done. And then it's a matter of trying to find other pockets of time throughout the week when she's mainly napping that I can get work done. But
it's such a juggle.
Yeah. And until she starts daycare in February, when she can go to family daycare where her big sister goes, it is going to be a juggle. But I'm going to make it work because, wait lists are really long where we live, and I'm happy to hang out a bit more at home with her. It's like she's our last baby, so I'm just soaking up all the time I can.
Oh gosh, I know, it's such a precious time. My youngest goes off to school next year, and I'm like, oh my goodness, we're now so close to the end of that daycare baby period, and I feel like we only just started it. So soak it all up. So what are you looking forward to in your business for the next 12 months?
Getting some more time to work. That's really the main thing. No, one of the things that's been on my radar is I really just need to, I know I've talked about that we've streamlined our services and offering, but I really just need to have some dedicated time to sit down and go, all right, well, where is our business right now? Where are we going? What other service offerings can we have? I've done that thing where you're you try a few different things, but some don't land. And it's just a matter of trying to package up some things that make sense for potential clients. So nailing our offering, and then redoing our website and branding. So I had a logo done when I first started the business. That was 2017. So it's a long time, and I haven't had any assets done myself, and I've just been fuddling my way through Canva. And so it's time to make this business look a little bit more polished and refined. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's such it's an exciting part of milestone in the business, though. You kind of, when you feel like you've outgrown that kind of, Canva logo, it's a good sign.
Yeah. Yep. It's I'm excited. It's something I've had in my mind that I wanted to work on this year, but I just I've been raising a baby. My God, exactly. What was I thinking?
Yeah. No, totally. Oh, thank you so much for joining me today. I've loved chatting and learning a bit more about the very mysterious world of social media advertising.
Thanks so much, Beth. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this design dialogue. I hope you have found it full of inspiration and helpful information to take into your design studio. If you like the podcast and want to hear more, consider sharing it or writing a review, as it helps us reach more people, and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. If you would like to unlock the power of effortless studio management and elevate your design business to new heights, please follow the links in our show notes to see how more time to design can help you build a better business. Have a great week, and I will see you for our next Design Dialogue.